Hello and welcome back to artofdino.com and saveearth.us. I have got an interesting article today that comes from the Aberdeen Herald of June 5th, 1914. And this is one of the articles that I found a while ago and thought would be a little bit relevant today. It's called Modern Jerusalem, and it says, very different from the ancient city in its oriental setting. So I thought that right away, that title was pretty interesting because I never really pictured Jerusalem to have an oriental setting. So, and I don't really know much about Jerusalem in the time between the ancient time and kind of the modern time when the World War II era happened and the newer Jerusalem was kind of formed. So this is a very interesting thing which had some parts in it that I had never really heard before. So I felt like I'd read a little quick one for you, put some random art and pictures up there and see what happens. So here you go. Enjoy this. I thought, again, like I said, I hadn't heard some of this stuff. So maybe you haven't either. Maybe you have. Who knows? Again, it's from a newspaper in 1914, so you can't trust everything. So, but it's pretty cool. Here we go. Modern Jerusalem, very different from the ancient city in its oriental setting. Probably no modern city is more disappointing to the expectant traveler than is Jerusalem. We think of it in its ancient glory. We picture to our imagination the magnificent temple with its golden roof and the other great buildings of the hill of Zion. We read of its being the rendezvous in Passover times of 1 million pilgrims, and we naturally think of it as an enormous city, comparable to London or New York of the present day. We think of it in its oriental setting of 2,000 years ago, but as we approach in a modern railway train and climb the steep ascent which leads to the city behind an American engine, our illusion disappears. Again, oriental setting. I've never heard that before, but wow, it makes sense again. At last, the guard calls out, "Jerusalem!" and we disembark a mile from the city, get into a rickety modern hack which has evidently done duty in some more civilized community, and are bounced over the rough roads and the intolerable cobblestones within the gates, until at last we are landed at our modern hotel, so different from the Khan of ancient times. And here our disillusion has only begun. The city of which we read as accommodating 1 million guests on the feast day could hardly today entertain 1,000 strangers within its walls, and since a multitude of pilgrims come every year from Russia and Italy and France and Germany, these nations have erected great hotels outside the walls for the accommodation of pilgrims. But these, fine and magnificent as they are, take us not back to the Jerusalem of 2,000 years ago, but tell us only of the modern city, where 6 great nations are building these hotels and hospitals in order to gain political and commercial advantage, and patiently awaiting the time when they can oust from his possession the Turk who has so long held away within this sacred city, or so long held sway within this sacred city. And that's from the Christian Herald. So very interesting. Christian Herald referring to Jerusalem as an oriental city. And again, they change news so often. They change history so much. To the victor go the spoils. Whatever the controllers want is the history that they remake and reshape. And then if enough people forget about it, it basically gets rewritten. But that doesn't mean that the truth changes at all. The truth remains the same. So, was Jerusalem a former Oriental city? How long had the Turks had it? This throws a lot of mud in the face of my previous education and my indoctrination as a young child growing up in a town called Sharon, which was predominantly Jewish. I am not, but a lot of my friends were. I went to hundreds of bar mitzvahs, so I just have heard all different things before about this country and this land, but I've never heard this. So maybe you all have, maybe you all know something else I don't, and I'm willing to believe we have been lied to again by so many people, but that very end makes the most sense about all the different nations basically coming in because they know something is coming. They can see the political and commercial advantage and are patiently awaiting the time when they can oust from his possession the Turk, who has so long held sway within the sacred city. So how did the Turks get it? From the Orientals? What is the true history of any of this stuff? And also keep in mind that other article that I found a while back, I think I put it in the community section, where they were talking about how Jerusalem was just layers upon layers upon layers of civilization, and that at one point they started digging up things and getting to the second layer beneath the top layer, but then they just gave up because it was so comprehensive and so tough. They just decided to pile another layer on, which is most likely the case of pretty much every city we know of. And so if it could hold 1 million people back in the day, then gets down to being able to only barely hold 1,000, something wild happened there over the course of time. And it's an important city that has been in the making to become what it is today for a pretty long time, and nobody knows the wheelings and dealings that have led it that way and have just been a part of its journey. So share some insight in the comments below. Let me know what you all think of this. Have you heard this before? Have you known of this? Do you know more? Add to the conversation, put links, do whatever. Share if you can, and enjoy. Bless you all. From artofdino.com and saveearth.us.